Good evening and welcome to News Hour. I am Anne-Marie Goodbye. Coming up in tonight's edition of News Hour, a team of councillors of the Sierra Leone People's Party, Kenema District, calls on President Kuruma. Last batch of newly appointed ministers and deputies take oath of office. And Deputy Minister of Information discloses plans to rebrand the Sierra Leone News Agency and refurbish the government-owned Daily Mail. That's all in this edition, and business and sports news are lined up in this edition of News Hour. A team of councillors of the Sierra Leone People's Party in the Kenema District Council has lauded President Ernest Bai Koroma for the development strides in the eastern region and the country as a whole. The team was led by Honorable Robin Fale. Let's bring you highlights of the meeting.
Really thought it through that they wanted to have a presentation to make to you, and I discussed with them, and they said it was because of the developments that have taken place. They really felt it necessary to come and open up, and first and foremost, to apologize for what has been happening. They felt really too bad because the subjects are now putting enormous pressure on them. Because they've started to see tangible evidences of socio-economic changes in their lives. But again, that has not been reflected in what the leaders have been doing. So I think there's been a bit of distance and a bit of discomfort between the subjects and the relationship between the subjects and the leaders there. So on behalf of the City Council and the teachers who have just been approved, I think they have a message. So I think I'll leave it to them. They have their representation too. So that is why we're here.
His Excellency, sir, we are here, first of all, as our dear brother has started the anticipation. I think it is befitting we continue along that line. We had wanted to start with the appreciation, but may we now continue with the apologies. It is heart-rending that a lot of things did happen upon your visit on the second generation of council inauguration, the third generation of council. You witnessed it. In Kenema City Council, we said we are mourning for democracy over your victory. And councils from the east, we are made to wear black, according to them. But thank God, you are so wise and intelligent, you responded accordingly. But indeed, also for a lot of misconceptions. We are in the opposition, but some of us believe opposition is a constructive term. It's not necessarily you just oppose because you want to oppose. And opposition starts from appreciation. You must acknowledge the good work that somebody must have done, even if you want to identify one or two gaps or lapses. For utterances from our mayor, like the demonstration threat, calling on the citizens of Kenema to come out and to lie down on the street each time you pay a visit, according to him, for the neglect of Kenema. But when you paid your last visit, there was another appropriate response. That the beneficiary, the man, because he was referring to you, Papa. Papa, now that you are here, Kenema will make. Master. Now that you are here, our street will tell. You have said, yes, that Pikin didn't hear Papa. You go see Papa in blessing. But if Pikin run far from Papa, how you want to let Papa in benefit Richard? And we've suffered a lot in Kenema, and we don't want it to continue. And you said, you are the president for this country. And you did reiterate your promise that what you promised for Kenema, you will ensure it happens. So we are here to apologize for all these unfortunate mishaps and misconceptions, and to acknowledge, to say thank you, His Excellency the President, for a very good work done. You've done a lot.
I'm glad for this meeting, because now this we want in this country. We want for make we all work together as Sierra Leoneans, irrespective of the political party we come out, the region we come out, the districts, or you name. Politics in this country, it don't come a long way. And when I've been coming to politics, I've been come on the platform of change. I say, Lord, change the way we do politics. Politics get in time, we want to go fight for political power. Then at the electioneering time. After elections, you don't change yourself. Even you as councillor, not to everybody vote for you. But at the end of the day, you don't become the councillor of the ward. And for the whole ward, irrespective of the person who vote for you or the one who not vote for you. Your responsibility now for make sure say development then at the ward. Same way with me, I believe say when I've been in a campaign, yes, now the APC party I campaign with, now the APC party I win with. But they not swear me in as president of the APC. They swear me in as president of Sierra Leone. The road construction and the choice of the roads then, not from central government. When we're ready, we send to all the councils. We not choose the 5 or 20 kilometer roads we want for make them do. Now the least way they send to we work with. So if certain major roads that were not included, they were not deleted because of a decision taken by the central government, not the local government. Now then take the decision. Whether person like it or not, you like the APC or not, or you like me government or not, what I don't do, I'm proud of them. Yes, and I know say for a very long time in the history of this country, I mean even from the colonial time, the kind of infrastructural development we don't take place in all the sectors, not only roads, electricity, the water, the health, education. You know, we compare them to any. People and we talk this and we talk that. The reality is there. It is glaring. You accept them, fine. You don't accept them. It is still there. It is still there. And we are going to continue with the programs.
President Ernest Bai Koroma has administered the oath of office to the last batch of newly appointed ministers and deputy, having gone through parliamentary procedures at State House. Razia Bashkamara reports.
I, do hereby in the name of God, solemnly affirm that I will faithfully and truly discharge the duties of the office.
Addressing the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Mamadou Kagbo, the President said that he need not tell him about the work of his ministry and the state of the economy, as he has been having meetings and addressing these issues. He added that he has the fervent belief that with the background he has, coupled with the training and recent exposure, he will be able to focus on trying to improve on the present state of the economy. President Koroma also informed the Deputy Minister of Education 1, Dr. Christiana Thorpe, that education is also another very key sector that is prioritized in the Ebola recovery programs in the first 6 to 9 months. The president said that as a government, they are now entering the 10 to 24 months recovery program, and as such, expressed delight that Dr. Christina Thorpe has played a key role in the implementation of all those programs, which makes her very familiar of what is expected by government. In a similar engagement, President Koroma also informed the Minister of Internal Affairs, Major Retired Alfred Palo Conte, that his government only expects that he will continue with his efforts and even do better with the additional authority that has been given him. He emphasized that he is an accomplished soldier, which he has clearly demonstrated during the fight against Ebola. Therefore, as a government and nation, they hope to see it translated in ensuring that the country's internal security is guaranteed. President Koroma added that it is also government's fervent hope that institutions including immigration, the correctional service and others will go through the changes that he has effected in the military.
Let me congratulate all of you, and we look forward to your continued contribution to the governance of this country, and I am very happy that you are in again, and I need not go any further but to just wish you the very best.
Presenting the newly appointed ministers and deputies earlier, the assistant to the Secretary of Cabinet, Mr. Samuel Bangura, told President Koroma that they are a group of distinguished Sierra Leoneans that are peaceful, productive, forward-looking, and considered worthy to serve as ministers in his government. Bearing in mind the provisions of Section 57 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone, they were at State House to subscribe to the oath of office before the President. In another engagement, President Ernest Bai Koroma, as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and Minister of Defense, has decorated the newly appointed Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General John Edison Milton, in a colorful ceremony at State House. The Secretary to the President, Emmanuel Oshokoka, described the ceremony as simple but very impressive, whilst the Assistant of the Defense Staff Operations and Plans, Brigadier General Brahma Sisse, described the occasion as the administering of the Oath of Allegiance of the newly appointed Chief of Defense Staff of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces. He said Lieutenant General John Edison Milton is a very dedicated, experienced and professional officer that has served the ARSLAF diligently over the years. The Assistant Chief of Defense Staff added that the new Chief of Defense Staff is a product of the famous British Military Academy, Sandhurst, in the United Kingdom. President Koroma said his government looks forward to having an agricultural sector and engineering section in the military that will be capable of participating in the construction of not only the military facilities but also compete with any other construction company for other national efforts and even grow internationally.
We do hope that during your tenure of office, we will continue with the efforts of improving on the military accommodation for our men and women. We have already started. We will start with the construction of a new barracks. We do hope that we will continue to construct more barracks so that we'll have new and fitting accommodation for our men and women.
Lieutenant General John Edison Milton said the day marked a turning point in his life, having attained the highest position of his career, which is very gratifying, and reminded him of how far he has come. He promised President Koroma and the people of Sierra Leone that he will not fail in his responsibility to serve the nation diligently. The officers of the First Lady and the wife of the Vice President have held a consultative meeting in Bo for community-based organizations under the Enhanced Inclusive Quality Education for All Girls project, UNIQ. The meeting aimed at creating a platform on how to strengthen community-based organizations and share ideas about what to do for girls so that they can become useful citizens. Kojo Kwafo takes up the story.
The meeting presented an opportunity for frank discussions on issues around child marriage, teenage pregnancy, and other forms of violence and abuse suffered by the girl child.
The UNIQ project complements the efforts of government, development partners in delivering on key areas of advocacy for the comprehensive development of children, especially girls. This is what UNIQ is all about. Making sure that girls go to school and stay in school, and making sure that we are able to look at other issues that affect them.
According to Mr. Beckley, a lot of questions were raised during a consultative meeting held in Freetown that identified existing gaps that could be tapped into to solve the challenges girls encounter. The community-based organizations will tell of what is happening in their communities that affect the growth of children, thereby providing the First Lady and wife of the Vice President with information on what's tenable in their various communities so they can include these issues when coining their advocacy messages for presentation or broadcast. Representatives from UNICEF, World Vision and Child Fund made presentations. Shakubla, Area Manager Child Fund, says that Child Fund has taken several steps to address issues around teenage pregnancy and early marriage and the lessons learned on the implementation of those programs in communities. Victor from World Vision says that the communities have the answer to most of the things that are deemed to be bad, and that as agencies they sometimes miss the point. He informed that the recent family support unit of the Sierra Leone police report revealed that 85% of the cases they received were for sexual penetration, with babies as young as 10 months old among those abused. Given an overview of the ENIC project, Shekununi, head of Admin and Finance, Office of the First Lady, says that in addition to government and development partners, the ENIC project also seeks to work with traditional and cultural leaders, community-based organizations and local authorities to seek the reversal of these trends and build a brighter future for girls by utilizing the project's 4 main pillars, which are strengthening policies that enhance institutional support for retention of girls in schools, strengthening community-based social and economic support for girls, providing comprehensive support for girls during and after pregnancy, and reducing prevalence of dropout rates among girls. Recommendations from the first consultative meeting held at the Family Kingdom Resort in Freetown on the 23rd of March include the establishment of a junior and secondary school in each chiefdom, the establishment of female-only schools, especially boarding schools, the empowerment of paramount chiefs to develop and enforce bylaws, a teacher's code of conduct, open discussion between girls and their parents about sex, closure of learning centers, promote mentoring clubs in schools, the inclusion of family life education in the school curriculum, and the development of a holistic approach involving religious and traditional rulers to be developed. The First Lady and wife of the Vice President will include these recommendations and those that will come out of this meeting in Bo in their advocacy messages for key stakeholders to take positive action. Kojo Kwafo, SLBC.
The Minister of Internal Affairs has taken up office from the outgoing Minister Joseph Bandabla Dauda. It attracted staff of departments and agencies under the Internal Affairs Ministry. During the handing over, the outgoing Minister Joseph Bandabla Dauda thanks the President for according him the opportunity to serve as Minister. Joseph Bandabla Dauda catalogued some of the achievements and ongoing programs of the ministry and said he hoped they will be actualized with the good leadership of retired Major Alfred Paulo Kante. The incoming minister promised to carry out the ministry's mandate and programs for the development of the country. The newly appointed Deputy Minister and the Permanent Secretary also gave their fullest support to promote the government's agenda for prosperity. The Deputy Minister of Information and Communications, Cornelius DeVoe, has told journalists of government's continued support on what he described as undiluted collaboration towards nation building. The Deputy Minister made his maiden statement at the weekly press briefing hosted by the Ministry of Information and Communications at U Building in Freetown. Abdul Samsise reports.
Practitioners, the Deputy Minister of Information and Communications, Cornelius DeVoe, informed journalists of government's continued support on what he described as undiluted collaboration towards the nation's enhancement. Mr. DeVoe urged media practitioners to take a turnaround posture in the dissemination of news, as the Information Ministry is also poised for a positive turnaround of the media profession in the country. The Deputy Minister, Cornelius DeVoe, encouraged media practitioners that government will continue to work closely with the Guild of Editors and Women in the Media as a strong foundation for knowledge building and transformation. Mr. DeVoe also disclosed that their 90-day plan of action for the development of the Information and Communications Ministry will be unfolded soon.
We will be unfolding our 90 days plan, and when the minister returns, we will be concluding that 90 days plan, because I've already held meetings with the sectorial heads in the department, and they are all developing a 90 days plan of action which will focus on things that we will be able to achieve within 90 days. But in the not too distant future, we will call you at a special press conference to unveil our 90 days development plan.
He maintained that the rebranding of the Sierra Leone news agency SLENA and the republishing of the government-owned Sierra Leone Daily Mail will form part of their strategic plans. Also at the press briefing, the Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources, Charles Rogers, disclosed to journalists that in 2015, his ministry accrued the sum of 20.4 billion leones, which was paid as the fisheries contribution to the consolidated fund. Mr. Rogers described the fishing industry in the country as safe and healthy.
To ensure that you collect the fish in a safe, hygienic and sanitary manner, you have to have proper jetties where you land the boats. Even the boats we are using are not quite appropriate, because we still use wooden boats, and this is going out of fashion in the world now, because wooden boats have a lot of repair requirements, and besides the repair requirements, they also don't last very long. They are heavy, they don't move very fast on the water, and you need like fiberglass boats to move faster.
The Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources, Charles Rogers, also recounted successes of the ministry in the areas of conservation of fish, the internal exclusion zone, surveillance and compliance of the fisher folk to use the proper monofilament fishing nets. He also dilated on the development of the aquaculture as a major sector in the fishing industry. The chairman, Right to Access Information, Commissioner Eunice Asese, also informed journalists of the operational activities of the commission that include its independent status and powers to levy fines and imprisonment terms as enacted by the Act. For SLBC News, Abdul Samsise reporting.
The CISVIC Educational Trust Fund has awarded scholarship to school children in Freetown. The trust fund was initiated by the Minister of Energy, Ambassador Henry Macaulay, in honor of his mother, who was an educationist and philanthropist. Presenting the scholarship, the chairman of the Board of Trustees, VIC Educational Trust Fund, Peter Kandene, said the trust fund has been successful over the years with the focus of promoting education. He described Sister Vic as a woman who believed in education with a vision of supporting young people through the journey of attaining quality education. He urged the beneficiaries to be steadfast in their schoolwork and maintain the good standard they have achieved. The scholarship includes cash, uniforms, and books. Henry Macaulay Jr. admonished the beneficiaries to always keep the memories of his mother and work towards achieving her dreams on education. The Produce Marketing Board, PMB, has concluded a one-day symposium for the development of value chain procedures. The symposium attracted security agencies, banking officials, NRA, immigration, and the farmers. The aim is to discuss on border security to prevent smuggling of the country's produce to other countries. Yvette Jasko takes up the story.
Smuggling is causing huge loss of income to Sierra Leone. According to the acting executive director of Produce Marketing Board, Aja Aissatou Kaba, the board is working to meet international standards. Amongst its mandates are to regulate and coordinate the marketing of produce in order to optimize the export of the produce of farmers. Madam Kaba said they are also encouraging the farmers to grow quality produce that will change their condition. She encouraged farmers to engage in scientific research in order to improve farming in the country.
We have private individuals coming into the sector buying and selling of cocoa. But what the government failed to do during that time is to institute a regulatory institution to look at the operation of the sector, to bring sanity to the sector. So the sector was on its own. People were just coming in, buying and selling of cocoa, up to the point Sierra Leone lost its name in the international market. Our cocoa were smuggled to a neighboring country. Farmers were paid bad prices. The quality was deteriorated. So in the first place, what the government did in 2002 was to institute an ad hoc committee on the marketing of produce.
The Chief Director of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Meriwether Thompson, said the Produce Monitoring Board has the mandate to regulate, promote and enhance the quality of produce. Representatives from various line sectors emphasized the importance of securing the borders. They said Sierra Leone's produce are smuggled out of the country. They call on government to support the security to man those borders. They commended Produce Monitoring Board for the forum. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Trade and Industry, Abdurrahman Fofana, said protecting the borders will help generate income for the country. He said the ministry is fighting to stop smuggling of produce and call on local authorities to set up bylaws that will prevent farmers from early harvesting and smuggling of the produce.
The second phase workshop of the Sierra Leone National Action Plan has commenced for councils in the north and western regions at the Eel Valley Hotel in Freetown. The aim is to implement the local guidelines of the United Nations Security Council Resolutions 1325 and 1820. The workshop was made up of participants drawn from the relevant line ministries. Aminat Alamin filed in this report, Readiness Studios by Princess Gibson.
Focuses on training local consuls and relevant stakeholders for the implementation of the roll-out local guidelines of the United Nations Security Council Resolutions 1325 and 1820. With the completion of the first phase, which targeted the southern and eastern regions, the second phase, upon its commencement, aims at training local consuls in the north and western regions. Lead coordinator Dr. Nana Pratt says the objective of the workshop is to ensure gender equity and empowerment in order to enhance the inclusion of women in governance and decision-making. Speaking on the importance of women empowerment and gender parity, the representative of Global Network for Women Empowerment, Mavi Kabribra Biliza, says that the transformative power of women are more action when their contributions on peace building and development are recognized. She explains details of the expectations as international organizations.
This project is part of the localization of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 and 1820 on women, peace and security. These are international laws that calls on all governments that are members of the United Nations to ensure that women are part of decision-making on matters of peace and security, and that their rights are protected, and that they are protected from sexual and gender-based violence.
Women representative Mary Okubu says peace is not about the absence of war, but the exercise of citizens' freedom. She assures the readiness of the United Nations women to support the cause of women in Sierra Leone. The mayor of Freetown City Council, Wade Franklin Gibson, assures all that the local councils and their partners will continue to align their district development plan and activities with the Sierra Leone National Plan on the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 and 1820 to ensure that issues relating to women, peace and security are always fully implemented. The Minister of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Sylvia Blyden, cites the rape case of a lady who was killed at Lumley Beach.
That the lady she mentioned on the beach at Lumley who was killed, those of you who have been following and maybe the Decentralization Secretariat Director might have noticed, the mother of the poor girl who was killed is one of those who accompanied me to Parliament. Because I've been with the family since day one. I didn't march to the beach, I didn't hold a candle, but I have been with them since day one. And I can tell you that yesterday, the case has been sent to the High Court from Magistrate Court level. The accused murderers the case has been committed to the High Court after the magistrates realized that there was sufficient evidence to commit the matter to the High Court. So it is not a situation of people being killed and the government doesn't care. I can assure you that this particular case is a case that the government, especially now that I'm at the helm of the ministry, is taking very, very seriously.
Over 100 tourists from 10 countries have arrived at the Cape Sierra Jetty in Freetown. The tourists are in the country to see monuments and relics and also visit tourist sites. According to the Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Sidi Yaya Tunis, the tourists will always look for possible areas of investment. Let's join Daphne Kimama-Colley, who filed in this report read in the studios by Frances Bennett.
After the Ebola outbreak, that tourists would sail the shores of Sierra Leone on a visit. This day's visit by 105 tourists from 10 countries in the world is to test the beautiful monuments and relics and other tourist attractions in Sierra Leone. These tourists would in 23 days have to visit 13 countries in the coastal lines of Africa. They have visited 10 countries already. This visit was facilitated by a company that helps tourists and foreigners to visit important places in the country.
I'm from California, United States of America. So what can you say about Sierra Leone? Sierra Leone is the most friendly country I've been to in Africa. It's wonderful. The people are so nice. Their smiles. They've got great music, good beer, wonderful beaches, and I'm just so happy to be here. You guys are wonderful.
According to the newly appointed Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Sidi Yaya Tunis, these tourists are in the country to see the beauties in the country, and there are possibilities that these tourists are on feasibility studies for possible investments.
It means a lot, and we have to thank Mr. Bimbola Carroll and the Visit Sierra Leone team who facilitated the coming of this cruise ship to Sierra Leone. As you saw, we were just welcoming 105 tourists that are on board this cruise ship. They are here for a day. They have activities lined up, of course. They will be visiting Takaduma Beach clinic, and then of course they will explore the beaches and will have some exciting soccer match in the evening through the organization of Visit Sierra Leone. They have promised that they will continue coming and the number will continue to increase. So hopefully in the near future we'll be having more cruise ships sailing into Sierra Leone with more tourists on board.
This is to show that the country is now safe for visitors and accessible for possible investments, he says. Abimbola Carol is the general manager of Visit Sierra Leone.
Tours for quite a few years now, but unfortunately we haven't been able to organize any tours for about 2 years. So this is the first cruise ship tour that's coming since. I mean, Visit Sierra Leone started in 2004, and basically from that time we have been trying to promote Sierra Leone in international media, just sort of getting people to understand that Sierra Leone is not business, and a lot of the stuff that's out there on Sierra Leone is actually inaccurate. It's a very misunderstood country, and we have been sort of trying to get people to visit because we believe that if people visit Sierra Leone, whatever perception they had, if it was negative, we can change it to a positive perception. Okay.
The visit was concluded with a 45-minute football match of Paralympic players at the Lumley Aberdeen Beach.
Chief Justice Abdullahi Cherm has said the judiciary has introduced a circular for the return of case files by magistrates of the Law Officers Department. This, he says, is in line with reforms to ensure accountability and improve services to the public. He was speaking at the Judicial Conference held at the Bintumani Conference Hall in Freetown. Princess Gibson has more.
There has been several accusations of the justice system, which many say is not in the interest of the poor. This forms the backbone of the Conference on Judicial Reforms, which seek to address challenges in the judiciary. One of the strategies, according to the Chief Justice, is the return of case files to the Law Officers Department.
There should be returns of all matters committed by them each Friday. That if you commit a matter on Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, by Friday, the office should be seized of all these files. And when we now have an office wherein we have a photocopier, we have yes, we have a photocopier, so that when these files come, we photocopy the depositions and send them to Law Officers Department. So that's why, in fact, within a month now, we've had over 200 indictments filed, because we've been able to get the returns from the magistrates on a regular basis on Fridays. Then come Tuesday or Wednesday the following week, these files, depositions are transmitted to the Law Officer Department for the drafting of indictment.
Other areas for reform in the judiciary Sierra Leoneans have asked for include bail policy and sentencing guidelines.
We had a bail policy before, but it's not working properly, and there's a need for reform. That's why, through the help of UNDP, the United States government sponsored, it gave us about 2 million, or UNDP 2 million, to undertake this project. And they started July last year, and it's a 2-year project. So by the end of the second year, we hope they will come up with a draft which we'll look at and we'll all share, because I mean it's an open thing. We all want your participation in it, so that when we get a document, it will be a foolproof document. So they are working on the bail and sentencing. Meanwhile, what we've done is to organize seminars. Since I took office, there have been 2 workshops at least on bail and sentencing, so that to tell the magistrate that their discretions will be used judiciously, because there is no need sending someone to prison when you know the person has suitable sorties or suitable people to stand as sorties, because that will overcrowd the prison or the correctional centers. So we are working on that, and definitely that's why in our intention is to make the bail and sentencing policy a statutory instrument which will be binding on the magistrates.
The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Joseph Kamara, who represented the President, said the government is committed to efficient and accountable legal system. A representative from the Ghana judiciary, Dorothy Kintli-Nina, who made a presentation on court management, describes the concept as key for effective judiciary. She says the Ghana judiciary has envisioned the concept of court management in its mission, pointing out that some gains have been made as a result of the creation of smaller management units. Her presentation also shows categories of court registrars to handle key areas to reduce the burden on the registrar for general jurisdiction. Cases are also assigned to magistrates through automated system. The Ghana judiciary, she says, has introduced a customer service unit with litigants and prisoners as customers, and that communication within the judiciary is largely done electronically. On law reporting, Arnold Bishop Gooding says justice has become transparent, that it could no more be hidden, citing the recent trial of President Zuma of South Africa. He describes law reporting as an important organ for the effective service delivery and a requirement for judicial precedent. Princess Gibson, SLBC News.
20 news admin points again. A team of councillors of the Sierra Leone People's Party, Kenema District, has called on President Ernest Bai Koroma. Last batch of newly appointed ministers and deputies have taken oath of office, and the Deputy Minister of Information has disclosed plans to rebrand the Sierra Leone News Agency and refurbish the government-owned Daily Mail. Well, that's all in tonight's edition of News Hour, broadcast live on the SLBC in Freetown. On behalf of News Editor Ibrahim Mantai, I am Anne-Marie Kibai. For more information about our programs, do send us an email to www.contactus@slbc.sl, www.contactus@slbc.sl. Thanks for watching. Good night.